So today's oatmeal day. I have apples from the freezer that I thawed out, strawberries, and one raspberry from the garden, pecans. So I'm not really a big fan of oatmeal. I never have been, but since I've been making myself eat it, I've started to really like it, especially with the nuts and fruit in it. I'm headed out to my friend's house and Kroger. Got a half a cabbage head for her. When I come back, I'm going to start some rice, I think, and make this sushi dish that I was talking about in yesterday's video. So here's my small shopping haul I did just now. And some things changed because I couldn't find what I needed. So I just got back from Kroger and my friend's house. I got my Tweetia. So she saved seeds from the plants that I gave her last year, and she started some this year. I thought for sure mine would come back, but they didn't. There were so many plants out front that I thought for sure they would self-seed. And they may have and may have been taken over by other things. So who knows? I thought there was only 4, but it looks like there's 5 little plants in here. So now I have to find some place for these. I'm going to go put them outside though in the meantime. The whole reason I went to the grocery store today was because I was running low on milk. So I got some Kroger milk. I had a half gallon. I had a coupon that they sent me. So this milk was $3.14. I'm going to put it in the fridge. I have maybe 6 or 7 eggs left. But because I was there, I went ahead and bought a dozen eggs. I use them a lot. And I have that cabbage I picked from the garden, so I might make some egg, rice, cheese, and cabbage with that. So the eggs were $2.99 for a dozen. So I went into the produce aisle. There were no shiitake mushrooms. On their website it says they do have them. There were none. So then I went into the Asian food aisle thinking, well, maybe they have some dried ones. Nope. So that kind of killed the whole sushi casserole thing. That and the fact that their rice vinegar was about 3 times more than Walmart's. So I think what I'm going to do next time I go to Lexington, I'll run by the Asian food mart. I do need to see how much money I have left on my food budget. So when I was in the produce department, I got some carrots. I do have some carrots. They're getting a little rubbery, I guess, going bad. So I got some fresh ones. I got 3. And the carrots were $1.34. I got 1 onion. The bagged onions didn't really look good. I do have part of an onion left in the fridge, and I have some growing in the garden. I was trying to let the ones in the garden get a little bigger before I pick them. So this onion cost $1.29. I had a 50-cent off coupon for this from Kroger. Got a little loaf of bread, which is another reason I went in. And that was $1.99. It's always $1.99. I got a free bag of Doritos because they sent me a coupon, probably to get me into the store. Its original price was $5.99 for this bag of chips. 14.5 ounces. $6 for a bag of chips. So I would never buy these now at that price. So it's a good thing well, good and bad, that they give me a free coupon. I got 2 bananas. I almost got one because my fruit is coming in now. The raspberries are really starting to pick up. Strawberries, I get a few every day, and that's about all I can eat, but I can freeze the raspberries. I did that last year. And I was craving bananas. So my 2 bananas, little bananas, I can't see, they were 41 cents for 2. And then comes the alternative meal. Since they didn't have the stuff for me to make my mom's sushi dish, as I was going towards the milk, there's a seafood display, I guess. And in front of that, they had Old Bay seasoning that was on sale. So I started thinking, with the rainy weather, it would be so good to have a seafood boil. I have never made one. I've only eaten them in restaurants, and not very often. So I decided to get some. I got the smaller size. They had a bigger one. This was $3.49 on sale. I think it was closer to $4 normally. It was 50 cents off on sale. Then I saw that they had seafood. They had shrimp on sale. And I wasn't going to make a big ton of it anyway. So it's a little bitty 10-ounce medium shrimp. And that was, I don't know where it is. That was $3.99. And then of course you have to have sausage of some kind. I had no idea what kind to get. I don't have a recipe to go by, so I just bought some random Polish sausage. Hopefully it's good. I think that's the best part of the seafood boil is the sausage myself. That and the crab legs, which I don't have. Crab legs were a little beyond my budget, so the sausage was $5.49. Which was more than the shrimp, which is kind of sad. So then I went back to the produce aisle looking around, and I got an ear corn to put in this seafood boil, and it was 50 cents for this one ear. I did not grow corn this year. I usually do. Sometimes I do really good, and sometimes I don't do very well. I have a really small garden, so it's really hard to grow corn. I guess I could have used some of the space from the tomatoes that I planted too much of and planted corn, but I didn't. Maybe I'll do it next year. It's fun to grow. So my total was $24.63. That brings my June spending for food up to $42.09. So I have about $18 left for this month for food. I didn't think that was too bad. With all the coupons and Kroger savings, I saved $9.14 according to them. So I have a smiley face bank that I've had for years. I bought it when my kids were small and I was trying to teach them how to save. Didn't do too good a job. But we used to put all the change in there. This is before I used more cash back then than I do now. But I still had quite a few coins in there and I wanted to get rid of them. I'm trying to clear things out, get rid of stuff. There's too much clutter, and that was one of the things that I needed to do. Get rid of all those coins. So I have a little change purse. One of my exchange students brought me as a gift when she came, and I keep it in my car. I usually put quarters in there, one for Aldi for the cart, and sometimes for like tolls if I'm going on a trip across the country or to another place that has a lot of toll roads. But I filled it up. I filled it up with a lot of change, a lot of pennies. And I wasn't going to do this. I went through the self-check, and if there was a line, I wasn't going to do this because it took me like 5 minutes to get all those coins in. So I kept checking. There were free registers the whole time I put all my coins in. So I used, let's see if you can see this. $10.01 of change. That's what I used to pay my grocery bill with, and the rest I used my debit card. So that was pretty cool. And I still have maybe 2 or 3 more coin purses full, and I'm gonna go either really early in the morning or mid-afternoon like I did today, so there's not a lot of people. And I think the rain helped with the amount of people in the stores too. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get rid of all that change and just put it in that machine. They do have the coin machines there, or they used to. I didn't notice it coming out of the store, but at Kroger they used to have a coin machine, but you had to pay to change your coin into cash, which is really annoying. Yeah, I'm not gonna pay for you to take my money and exchange it. So, and I could have rolled it and taken it to the bank, but that's also a hassle too. This is easy. As long as there's not a line, I'm okay with doing this. And I have done this with a little bit of change in both Kroger and Walmart before, but it's not as much. Still doing good on the budget. I did think about getting some ground beef and making hamburgers because that sounds good too, a cheeseburger. But then I saw the Old Bay seasoning and I thought seafood boil, yeah, that's really good. The bad thing is, every seafood boil I've had in a restaurant, which were like 3, maybe 3, had potatoes in it. So I have to go out in the rain and dig up some potatoes, muddy potatoes, but it's okay. So I'm gonna put the perishable stuff in the fridge, and I'm gonna go out and get some some potatoes. So I got a few potatoes, and once again the biggest one came off the smallest plant. They're getting a little skimpy now, so I think I need to leave them alone for a while and let them, there's a lot of little babies, but I'm over harvesting now, I think. So I'm gonna leave them alone for a while. I am gonna go warm up some coffee, and I picked 2 asparagus while I was out back. I'm gonna Google some recipes to make sure there's nothing besides water and this seasoning and the vegetables and shrimp that I need to put in there, because I really don't know. I have never made it. So I'm gonna go see what I need to do, if anything. So I've looked at some recipes, and they're all different, of course. I think I'm just gonna wing it. I washed my potatoes, and I think I'm gonna go get some parsley out of the garden and use some of that and get this water boiling. So I have 8 cups of water in here. Hopefully that's enough. So I'm just going to put a bunch of this seasoning in here. Some salt. I think there's celery salt in this, in the list of ingredients of Old Bay. Celery salt, spices including red pepper, black pepper, and paprika. So it doesn't tell you what all is in here. Some of the recipes said you can put thyme. Since I don't have fresh thyme, I am going to put in some ground. Okay, that is spicy. That's hotter than I thought it was going to be. So I just poured out 3/4 of that because that was just too spicy for me. And I'm going to start over. No more bay seasoning. I may have to give this to my daughter because it was more spicy than I like. So I'm just going to add other things that aren't quite, whoop. That's fine. My smoked paprika is not spicy, so not hot spicy, not spicy hot. Okay. I'm gonna put some chicken bouillon cubes in here for flavor. So I wonder if this stuff would be good. I'm just going to use some of it. It's a tomato and chicken bouillon. So why not? So it's still a tad bit spicy, but I can handle that. Like an entire clove of garlic. I'm gonna go get some parsley while this boils. So I just tasted the broth and it's starting to taste really good. So I'm gonna put the potatoes in here now. I'm gonna put the bigger ones in first and wait a few minutes before I put the smaller ones in. Let them cook a little bit. Give it 10 minutes. So I forgot this place that my daughter and I have gone to, Shaking Seafood, puts boiled eggs in their seafood boil, and it's really good. So I've kind of last minute decided to boil a few eggs up to go in it. Getting a little soft. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the rest of these potatoes. And onions. So most of the recipes I saw called for red onions, but I just used an old onion, the last of the bag that I bought. So I rinsed off the shrimp. It's raw shrimp. Okay. And I've cut up the corn on the cob, well, broke it into 3 pieces, and I'm gonna go chop up the sausage now. So I've fished out some of the potatoes because they're cooked and I don't want them to turn to mush. There's still a couple of the small ones and one of the big potatoes in there. I'm gonna just let them boil for a little bit longer. I should have started the eggs sooner, but I didn't think about it until much later. I'm gonna add the sausage. And the corn. So the eggs are cooling off in some ice water. I've taken the corn on the cob out so they don't overcook. The only thing that's in here now are the sausage and the onions still. I think I might need to take the onions out. I don't know if you can overcook sausage. Plus I want the flavor to really get into the sausage. I'm going to put the uncooked shrimp in here now. You're only supposed to cook it for a few minutes. They are still kind of frozen though, so I'm going to go peel the eggs. I'm going to put the eggs in now. Look at the shrimp. I think the shrimp are cooked. So I'm gonna let the eggs simmer. I'm gonna turn it down so that they soak up some of that flavor. And I'm gonna make me a plate after I pull the shrimp out. Okay, so I made me a plate up. I added some of the sauce. I'm gonna put some butter over it because that is what all of the recipes call for. Although it's a lot more butter than what I'm putting on mine. Some parsley to make it pretty. Okay. I don't think it's going to be as flavorful as the stuff you get in shaking seafood or whatever. The flavor is not as intense. A very small part of me wants to add some more base seasoning, but I'm afraid it's going to be too hot. Okay, I'm going to add it on one of the pieces of shrimp. Just a dab. That's not bad. I think I'm just going to sprinkle it over the whole thing just a tiny bit to give it more flavor. So, potato. That's better, much better. Okay. I'm gonna fish out the last 2 eggs, pour some of the sauce into my 2 bowls. I have a bowl of the sausage and shrimp and a bowl with the potatoes and corn. I didn't get any onions. I think they're at the bottom of this one. Yeah. I think they're at the bottom. So I'm gonna top them with some onions. Okay. I wonder if I should put them all in a bigger dish. I think I'm going to put it all in this one bowl so that they can marinate overnight and see if the flavors absorb better. And then I'm going to eat my food. That was pretty good. It wasn't quite as good as the restaurant stuff, the kind you get in the restaurant, but it was close. I really wish I had some crab legs, but not in the budget right now. I could have gone over budget and got some. I think there were some for like $25 or something at Kroger. I just glanced at them and I'm like, no. So I have enough food. Oh my gosh. I have so much of that crab boil. Probably for 4 or 5 more meals. So Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna eat it for dinner tonight, and then I'll eat some for lunch tomorrow, and I might freeze the rest because that's a lot. Yeah, I'm really sorry about not doing the sushi casserole. I was really looking forward to it because I have not had it in years, and I thought it would be interesting. Something that I don't know of anybody else who makes it other than my mom. Yeah, I've never seen it anywhere. There are some sushi casseroles that are baked, but this is not. It's made on the stove and then it's put in the fridge. I vaguely remember that you eat it cold after all the stuff is cooked together. I think. That's how long it's been since I've eaten it. I still have, what? I still have a little bit on my budget for the month. So I might go one day this week, possibly, to Lexington and get the stuff to make it. It depends on how bad the weather is. I don't like driving in the pouring rain. And I don't know what the weather's going to be like. We'll see. Maybe, oh, you know what? I think my mom served it with pickled ginger and some seaweed on top. That just popped into my mind. I'm not a big ginger eater. I like it okay. My mom used to send me jars of pickled ginger and pickled plums when I was pregnant with my kids because I got so nauseated during my pregnancies for like 4.5 months. I was so sick all the time. So she would send me jars of both. And they did help. That and plain popcorn. I have a mess to clean up. That created so many things to wash, pots and bowls, and yeah. So I'm gonna clean this up little by little, and I'm gonna edit this video. I may add some video and pictures onto this video of my 2023 trip, just in case somebody wants to see it. If not, it'll be on the end, so you don't have to watch anymore if you don't want to. So thank you all for watching. Take care. Bye.
wel cool als deze touwankers inklopt. Maar zo als je inklopt, dit eigenlijk ook niet erg. Het is gewoon natuurlijk.
I can't back up a little bit. Stop it.
Just kidding. Like, it turns out I'm just a kid, and just a kid, and I thought it was fun.